Hello, hello. Welcome to Media Queen TV. So excited today about this topic, how to navigate uncertainty. We have a very special guest all the way from Sydney. We have Laura Gutiérrez here in the room from the Love Approach. Have I pronounced that right? Gutiérrez?
Yeah, close, Aldwyn.
Okay, cool. Not too bad. Awesome, awesome. Now, a little bit about this amazing lady. And we do like to make these shows interactive. So thank you to those who've joined us. I can see already we've got Alfred Belanti here on LinkedIn. We've got Jordan says hi on Instagram. John Perry. We've got It's Chris Mios has joined us. Wherever you're joining us from on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X. Let us know, where are you joining us from? And if you have any questions as we go through today's show, we love to make it interactive. So a little bit about the amazing Laura. Okay, here we go. All right, so a bit about her. She's an emotional fitness coach, breathwork facilitator, and vibrational healer. She helps people transform their relationship with uncertainty so that they can navigate the stress, changes, and the inevitable challenges that life brings with calm and confidence. She runs online and in-person workshops, private and corporate events as well, group events, and one-on-one. She works with clients as well. She's had clients such as PE Nation, McGrath Real Estate, Don Adden Coffee, Our Yoga Space, and Uplift Recruitment, among others. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you, Aldwyn. So happy to be here. Very excited.
So great to have you here. And we actually met at an online networking event, as you do. And here we are. And you've interviewed me for your show. And now I'm interviewing you. So it's a beautiful collaboration. And there's probably people wondering, where's that beautiful accent from? So can you give us a bit of your background, where you're from originally, and what brought you to Sydney?
Of course. So I'm from Bogota, Colombia. And I arrived in Sydney nearly 13 years ago because I followed the person that I ended up marrying. And now we're no longer together, but that's how I ended up here, basically.
You came for love and then you fell in love with Australia. Fantastic. Well, we love your accent. And we've got a lot of people from South America here, actually, in Gold Coast as well, where I'm from, and a lot of Brazilians and from all over the place. So it's beautiful how multicultural Aussie is, the old Australia. Now, I love what you do with, the mindful work that you do. Now, why is this so important nowadays, do you think?
Well, I would say for a variety of reasons, and I'm going to speak from my experience with my own clients and the people that I see, but also from my own personal experience. And it's this kind of like this hamster wheel that we've gotten into, in which we don't stop, and we not only not stop in terms of the physical activities that we are constantly bringing in, all the input of information, but in the way that we process our thoughts, our emotions, and everything. And it's taking us and many people, I would say, to that space of constant stress, anxiety, panic. And that is actually how my journey started. I started from an experience of severe anxiety and panic, and finding the solutions and the resources within is what brought me into the journey of supporting others in their journey as well. So it's key because it has become the new normal to be stressed, anxious, with feelings of panic, depressed, and I know there's much more for us to experience than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I know anxiety is massive now. I mean, there's always been a lot of anxiety, but I think since COVID, since the whole pandemic, as I call it, since that whole period, we've had, lots more depression, 4 times the suicide rates. People are stressing out now with the rising cost of living, interest rates going up, and all of that is leading to a lot of stress and anxiety for people. Financial stress, of course, that doesn't help. Then you've got things like wars going on, which, we're all wondering what the hell is going on. Of course, there's no winners in war. But really, when you look at world events right now and you look at AI and, things can get very overwhelming for a lot of people. So dealing with uncertainty, what we're talking about today, how to navigate uncertainty. Now, one thing's for sure is that there will always be uncertainty to some level in life, right? We'll always have some uncertainty. And it's also one of the basic human needs, isn't it? Certainty and uncertainty are needs, as Tony Robbins talks about. So could you talk about that a little bit more, about, certainty and uncertainty, and how you navigate both of those things?
Yeah. Well, it's a great question, Alwyn, and I like the way you framed it about it being a core need. So we need the two of them, that even though they look like opposites, they're quite complementary, they support each other. The thing is that when we go to the extremes, that's when we have an issue, right? When life has become so uncertain, then you don't know what's going to happen in the next, I don't know, few days, like for example, if there's no work, no job, no routine, you don't know where your income is going to come from or what's going to happen. Those are high levels of uncertainty. And when that is so intense, then where the person tends to go to is to a stressed place, a place of like tension, a place of anxiety. Now, same happens with certainty. If there is too much certainty in your life, what happens? Life gets really boring. And it also leads to things like depression. And so we've got to have this lovely harmony, I would say. More than balance, it's a good dance between those two. Not too much, not too little, but also learning to bring in strategies to create certainty and uncertainty resourcefully. This is one of the things that I share with my clients, and it's that we don't have to wait for life to bring lots of uncertainty into our life, like lots of challenge, lots of change. We can choose to consistently experience a little bit of uncertainty every day. And uncertainty has different flavors, right? It has discomfort, the unfamiliar, a challenge, a change, which can be something as simple as, I'm not going to have coffee today, I'm going to have a green tea. That already can be slightly uncomfortable for some people. But if you do it consciously, it already starts stretching your comfort zone and what you can deal with. That let's say the ability that you have to deal with the unfamiliar, with the uncomfortable.
Yes, absolutely. There's no growth until we step out of our comfort zone, right?
Exactly.
And so that's the thing, and that takes actually embracing uncertainty and actually taking that leap of faith. And sometimes, like being on the top of a cliff and actually jumping off. And then, as they say, you develop wings and you fly once you actually have the courage to sort of jump off the cliff. Not that we're telling people to jump off the cliff here, because, you may not, you may not actually grow physical wings as such. This is more talking about you're growing in strength. You're growing in strength every time you step out of your comfort zone. So every time that you step out of it, and that's where, when people do public speaking, for example, they can get very nervous. But if we turn that nervousness into excitement and move through it, move through the fear, I guess, that's when we get so much growth. And often the biggest challenge can be for people is the conversations going on in our own mind around dealing with uncertainty, about how we go about that. So, for example, people go up and do a speaking gig, and they might think to themselves afterwards, oh, I wish I said this, I wish I did that, or da da da. It's all those conversations, rather than just trusting the right words came out as they were meant to come out. And and actually acknowledging yourself for pushing through your comfort zone and actually coming out the other side, and having that gusto, that confidence, that boldness to be able to share your message, which does take something. It takes something to navigate this uncertainty. And so for a lot of people, that's where they say they bury their head in the sand, don't they? Because it's much more comfortable burying your head in the sand and being in comfort zone than it is putting yourself out there. And, I would say it's probably like the 80-20 rule. You've probably got 20% of people that are really vocal and out there, the divergents, the rebels, the entrepreneurs that are really putting themselves out there, that are not happy doing their 9-to-5 jobs that they're not enjoying, and actually stepping out of your comfort zone. And like, say, embracing business, for example. One of the most challenging things you'll do is actually having a business, because, you don't have any certain income as such. 9-to-5 jobs are safe, right? However, job also stands for just over broke, right? Just over broke is what they say. So, and some people love their jobs, and that's great. However, consider, what is your purpose? What are you here on the planet for? And so where do you work with people, Laura, if people come to you, or Laura, people come to you and they say, they say they really want to, reach certain goals or do certain things, and they just feel really stuck. What do you say to them? How do you get them out of their unstuckness?
Well, it varies, right? Each person it's a different world. And so what I am always paying attention is, first, the breath. The breath tells me a lot as to how they are feeling in their body. Are they stressed out or are they relaxed? So that's the first thing, one of the first things that we address together. And then we move on to more of the emotional fitness aspect. And so like we not only chat, but I provide them with tools and strategies to be able to apply them, especially when they're moving through uncertainty, but they go paired with breath work, with breathing, because the breath really is the key to access the nervous system, and to be able to move forward, get unstuck, move out of freeze, for example, move out of anxiety, being able to take action. Sometimes when we are stressed or scared, we stop breathing. I don't know if you've noticed that, or sometimes when you are very busy in your mind, you stop breathing, you hold your breath, which is interesting, right? So once you become very aware of your breath becomes that tool that you can resource at any time. You can grab onto it at any time to continue to move, whether it's activating your nervous system to release all that tension or just helping you regulate in a moment of challenge, of change. So those are the main tools. But I also, when I work one-on-one with people, I also use vibrational healing. And so, but it depends on the client. So I find vibrational healing is amazing to move energy. So your breath is energy. You're moving your energy when you breathe and when you're consciously breathing. And of course, you do the same when you're consciously changing your mindset and your perspective. And then with vibrational healing, sound therapy, for example, you help integrate all of that. It's like, if you consider that at a subatomic level, we are constantly moving. When you play a singing bowl, for example, right, then that is those waves of movement, of frequency, work through you as well. And they help you remember your harmonious state of being. It's fascinating. I love it. Yeah.
I love sound healing, and I love yoga as well. I love movement. I love grounding myself and getting into the ocean. These are all things that are crucial for me. Meditation. I've done a fair bit of breath work. I must say it was challenging at first. I think being a media personality for many years, and it's very much go, 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 go. And when you're actually being interviewed on air, if you're on radio or on TV, you don't want dead air. You don't want to be pausing. You need to sort of keep the conversation rolling, because otherwise they think that you've gone off air. So there's all that as well when you've actually been trained in the media. That's sort of things to be conscious of. And so when you breathe, there's a pause usually. And, that's very powerful when you're doing public speaking. However, when you're being interviewed in the media, it's a different story, because, it can turn people off that channel, so to speak. So with breath work, and I know a lot of us do breathe out of the chest, and I know the diaphragm is a place we need to really focus on. So what are some tips you'll give people who might be feeling a bit anxious right now? What are some easy breathing techniques now that could help relieve stress for people?
Well, one of my favorite ones is actually to create or exhale for longer. So longer exhalations. So a very simple exercise is to start with, like, let's say a 3-second inhale, a 6-second exhale, or a 4-second inhale, 8-second exhale, and trying to do it through the nose, because then that is more controlled, let's say. And so just by doing that, what you're doing is you are stimulating your vagus nerve, which is the 10th cranial nerve, at the back of your brain. And that nerve actually is it's like the conductor or the director of your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your relaxation response. So when you exhale longer, you are stimulating that nerve, and that is actually, that nerve releases something called acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter. And it's been shown that it actually reduces your heart rate. And so just by doing that, you are reducing your heart rate and you're entering a state of calm. So that is powerful. Just longer exhalations. Another one, especially if you're in a moment of anxiety, and this is going to sound super simple, but it is actually, is to actually cup your hands around your nose and mouth and breathe into, breathe into your hands. And what you're doing is that you are like taking, again, a little bit of that CO2, that carbon dioxide, which is going to support in that process of recovering from that moment of intense or acute anxiety.
Fascinating. And then you could put some oils. You could put some essential oils on your palms. So do you work with essential oils at all?
I use some of them. Yeah, I use some of them especially for the one-on-one sessions. during the vibrational healing aspect of the session, because once again, an essential oil is a frequency, right? And so you're working with the frequency of the plant or the flower or whatever it is. Yeah. So I love them. Love them.
So maybe something like lavender, put a few drops of lavender oil on your palms and rub it together and then do that as well would probably help as well to relax you even further.
Yeah, definitely. I love the tip.
Yeah, I love that actually. And it's interesting the breath work I've done. Like I've done some DMT breath work with people like Dr. Espen, etc. And with that, because you want to breathe in fully and breathe out fully, what they say is breathe in through the nose and mouth and out through the nose and mouth. And so it's interesting you say mainly through the nose when you're doing these exercises, because, I find I can breathe out more if I breathe out through the mouth.
Yeah.
So explain that again. What happens when you breathe just in and out through the nose?
I love this question because, well, with breath work is a big term. Let's say it's like an umbrella term that covers many different kinds of exercises with very different purposes, right? So I love hyperventilation exercises like the ones that you're talking about, because you're breathing fast and you're creating all these chemical reactions in your body to create a release of tension and to bring you to a state of deep connection. Love them. I actually do them in a lot of my events. But the ones that I just described to you are more for learning to retrain your breath, retraining your breathing. So when you're breathing in and out through your nose, you're basically using your respiratory system. When you breathe through your mouth, the mouth is not really meant to be used as a breathing part, So I heard someone, and I don't remember if this was one of my teachers, but saying the nose is for breathing, the mouth is for eating. And that kind of like stuck with me. Yes. And so when you breathe in through the nose, you're doing a few things. You're creating or facilitating the creation of nitric oxide, and it's created in all the nasal cavities and all this area. Nitric oxide is the third respiratory gas, and it actually helps with the delivery of oxygen to your lungs, but actually to the bottom of your lungs. When you breathe through your nose, you're also activating your diaphragm. Fascinating. And also when you exhale through your nose, you are exhaling slowly, so controlled, and you're not expelling all your CO2, your carbon dioxide in one go. What happens is that in order for your body to be oxygenated properly, you need carbon dioxide. We always talk about oxygen, and yes, oxygen is super important, of course. But carbon dioxide is the one that signals basically the release of oxygen into your tissues. If you don't have enough carbon dioxide, that oxygen is going to be circulating in your blood, but it's not going to be delivered. Now, when you have low sensitivity to carbon dioxide, you have a higher percentage, let's say, or a higher, I forgot the word for this in English, but basically you're more prone to anxiety. So learning to slowly exhale is going to build that resistance. It's going to build that you're going to get better at having more carbon dioxide in your body, and therefore better oxygenation, and therefore less feelings of anxiety. So it's fascinating.
Amazing. I know a lot of people do box breathing. The box breathing is in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, etc. And I found that very useful. So it's interesting where you breathe out longer than you breathe in, and breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Now, for those who have sleep apnea and who snore at night, now I know you have a great little technique where you tape your mouth at night. Could you share a bit about that?
Yes, well, this is something that I've learned from teachers as well, and you can find lots of information about this online and in books, actually. But basically what you're doing is that you are retraining your breath. Taping your mouth is all about retraining the way you're breathing. Now, nowadays, and because of what we chatted about at the beginning, all the stress and all the, this fight or flight response, this constant response like this, we tend to breathe through the mouth. When you breathe through your mouth, you are in fight or flight. That's what usually happens. And so the idea is to close the mouth, retrain us to breathe through the nose. That's basically it. What does it do? It improves many things. It improves your sleep. It improves your oxygen intake and uptake. It improves your mental capacity, your focus. It's like breathing through the nose really reorganizes you, reharmonizes you. Now, if you have sleep apnea, though, you just need to be very, kind of like go gradually, be very mindful of that. And so sometimes the best thing is to start with a few minutes, taping your mouth, 15 minutes before going to bed, tape it for 15 minutes, take it off, go to bed. If you snore the same. And gradually start incrementally. When I started taping, I was always a mouth breather since I was a kid, and I always slept. And I have countless photos taken of me.
Right. Very attractive photos. Yeah. All the ones we put on the dating sites.
And so,
or Facebook profile picture. A great way to win friends and influence people.
And so for me, it was a big step to tape my mouth, because I couldn't stand it at the beginning. I was so used to breathing through my mouth. And so, without even thinking at night, or without being conscious, sorry, I was taking the tape off. So naturally, you're going to take it up. The more you do it, the better you get at it, and the better you start breathing. Like I keep taping now, but when I forget because of whatever, my mouth is closed. And I notice I am breathing constantly through my nose, even when I am exercising, which is another kind of like challenge, let's say, which is nose breathing only through your exercise. So it's a retraining, and it's like any habit that you need to build, that you want to build, if you want different results, of course.
So when you breathe through the nose, you actually do tend to breathe deeper as well, right? You breathe through your diaphragm more than your chest. Is that right?
Exactly. Yes. But it's like if you have been breathing in a particular way and you want to change that, it's like with any other habit. You've got to become very aware of how you're doing it, and little by little create that change. So breathing in through the nose and paying attention. Actually, a good exercise is to pay attention to how your floating ribs move out when you breathe in, and how they go back to their natural position when you breathe out. So it's like paying attention to this movement is a really good way to start, because many people go, oh yes, I'll breathe through the nose. So that doesn't do much, really. I mean, at least you're breathing in through the nose and the air is not going like directly into your throat, But paying attention to the ribs moving and consciously directing your breath there is the first exercise that I always share with my clients or the people that come to my workshops. It's key. It's key.
I think it's a great idea. I wonder why so many people breathe through the mouth usually. What do you think that's from?
I think there are many conditions. I mean, there are many different things, and for some people, they actually have like physical struggles, let's say, deviated septums and blocked noses, allergies, like so many different things. But I would say that the biggest percentage is more caused by a constant state of stress. So when you're in a constant state of survival, the mouth is going to be open. And like, just pay attention to yourself. When you're, let's say, maybe writing emails, or you're busy doing stuff, or is your mouth like this? Or is it closed? So that would be the first thing that I would say. Just look into that. Be curious. And if you find yourself doing that, close your mouth and start retraining.
Yeah, and it could be if people have been smokers as well, possibly. They might be, breathing through the mouth more too. It's actually just great to get conscious, isn't it, of this? Because I must say I've been a mouth breather as well a lot, and and it's and I find sometimes at night my mouth gets really dry. So that's the other thing. Breathing through the mouth is you end up very dry and very thirsty.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say that when you breathe through your nose, the air is actually purified, humidified, warmed up. It's like prepared to enter your body. When you breathe through your mouth, it just goes into you. And so you're missing out on all the good things that are happening here. This is a system of filtration, purification, humidify. I don't know how to say that in English, that word, but humidify the air. It's making sure that it's going directly where it needs to go.
Mm,
Through the mouth,
mm,
you can experience also cavities and like all the I don't know how to say that in English either. Sorry, I'm forgetting many words right now. But like
okay.
the health in your mouth changes when you start breathing through your nose as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, bad breath, for example, it can be caused by mouth breathing.
Amazing. Or gum health maybe would be improved if you.
Cavities, like all these other things, and it can be resolved. I mean, there can be many aspects, of course, involved in this, but
Mm,
try just retraining your nose, breathing
mm,
and out
I
through your
love that.
nose.
And I'd
Mm.
say posture would be important too, right? Because if you're slouched over all the time, like a lot of people are on their devices, they're also not breathing really well, right? So what advice would you give around that?
Well, yeah, like if you are nose breathing, or if you're looking to use your diaphragm, you really would like to be able to pay attention to how you're standing. But when you breathe through your nose, you're going to notice that your diaphragm is going to work better. So again, nose breathing can be the first step. Hmm. If you're using your device, and I know this because I work with chiropractors as well, and so bring your device here, instead of you bringing yourself to your device, you actually bring the device to you.
Mm.
This helps.
Yes, I love that. And I actually have a laptop stand that I use, for example. So that's why I'm looking at the camera right here.
Yeah.
And when I'm on my phone, often I might have a cushion or something in front of me, and I'll just tap away at the phone on my cushion, which is more at a higher level. But there's all sorts of stands, laptop stands, phone stands, and things you can use to help with that, which I think is really great. Now, before people go masking up their faces with gaffer tape and whatever else, now there's a special type of tape that you use. So if you could just explain, because people might be thinking, oh, I'll get some sticky tape, and then you start, ripping your hair off the face. Well, male and female could get a lot of hair on the face, but before you start ripping all the hair off your face, what tape do you use? What do you recommend on that?
You can get so many different kinds of mouth tapes now. I mean, some very expensive, some not. But to be honest, the one that I use is just micropore tape from the pharmacy. $3 for a little, roll of tape. And I always cut, like, this is my hairband, but let's just say like a little piece like this. And it's more or less this width. And just stick it from the top of the lip to the bottom of the lip. So you still have these parts, let's say, untaped. And this sometimes is easier for many people because they don't feel they're taping the whole mouth. And so I think from a psychological point of view, it's actually easier to accept and to just tape like this.
Yes,
It has the same effect. And for men with beard and all of that, so just tape the lips. So it's like a square, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it works. It works because from what I've noticed, is that it's more about feeling that your lips are closed,
Yes.
actually having to close them, and it's more the feeling that is a sensation, I would say.
Yeah, it'll take some getting used to, like anything. And I think they say, like, it takes 21 days to change a habit. So if you think about, we've been breathing through our mouth our whole lives, mostly, for most people, without even being conscious of it. So to shift that, it's
Yeah.
going to take some concerted effort. And I love how you say, maybe just do it for 15 minutes before you go to sleep initially, and then see how you go having it on at night, and see how you feel in the morning. And you said you noticed massive changes for you, right? When you
Oh,
started.
huge. And especially because I was a mouth breather. So, when you have had a habit of mouth breathing all your life, and your sleep was poor, and you were breathing shallow, and like the quality of even your thinking wasn't great, sore jaws in the morning, or bad breath, like all these things, when you start noticing those changes, then you go like, oh, this is worth it. So
Mm,
I can
amazing.
only say it's we encourage you to do it. Like, you're encouraged to do it. Of course, you decide for how long, you decide the intensity of it, but once you start noticing the results.
It's
Yeah.
fascinating that you get more bad breath if you're breathing through the mouth. Isn't that interesting? Is that because you're taking the toxins from the air, or what is that
So
from?
you're dehydrating the mouth when you're breathing
Mhm.
through the mouth. And then your mouth is meant to be a moist environment. Your saliva protects you from bacteria and all of that. When you breathe your mouth, then you're basically killing all of that in a way, and you're letting the bad bacteria grow.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. Even more reason to get the tape on the mouth and see how you go. And of course, it's going to be uncertain at first, right? We're talking about how to navigate uncertainty. Now, if you tape your mouth initially when you go to bed, there's going to be this uncertainty of how's it going to feel through the night and how are you going to sleep and what's it going to be like in the morning. But really, what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
You're not going to suffocate yourself. I mean, if and that's the thing. Some people might think, oh, what if I can't breathe or whatever? But, I guess try it out, right? It's something different. It's something where you'd be stepping out of your comfort zone.
Totally. I love the way you framed it. It's one of those ways in which you can little by little expand your comfort zone and deal with a little bit more the next day. And it sends that message of like, oh yes, I can do this. I did it last night, so I can do it here today again. And you feel better about yourself as well. So it has a ripple effect of awesome things.
Yes, and building that confidence in ourselves, actually acknowledging ourselves, acknowledge yourself when you do something different, when you try something new and you actually succeed in that and you last more than 10 minutes with tape on your mouth, well done. That's the thing. Like sometimes we can be really hard on ourselves, can't we? Especially the high achievers here. I know there's quite a few have joined us here. We've got Freeman Actual here. We've got Bizbo. Hello, Spidey Ken, my co-host of Total Truth Shows here with us. Soul of Sydney. We've got Inabil Arain. Prasad Adelaide is joining us on Instagram. And Jordan Louise Knight is giving us a nice big smile there. Lovely to see you there on LinkedIn, Jordan. Thank you so much. Let us know, with those joining us live, let us know how you deal with uncertainty and what's something that maybe you've stepped out of your comfort zone recently and you've had a great result in that area. And the smallest of changes, that's the thing, is step by step, inch by inch, everything's a cinch. It's one of my favorite sayings. Inch by inch, everything is a cinch. And so break it right down. Sometimes we get in overwhelm and anxious, and when we think about all the things there is to do in life, and it feels like even more so people being bombarded with all this information about all sorts of things, and they just, a lot of people are very scattered. They don't really know which way to turn or, what their purpose in life is and all those kind of things. And this is where I think coming into silence, coming into the body to really get clear on where we're going in life, I think this will all help us navigate uncertainty too, because I think, the clearer your mission, the easier it's going to be to make your decision. So the easier it's going to be able to say yes or no to certain opportunities that come your way, the clearer you are on where you want to go. Otherwise, it could be like you're going from pillar to post, going here, there, and everywhere, because there's always going to be opportunities presented to us. But is it in alignment with your higher mission and vision? So what are your thoughts around that, Laura? How important it is to have a clear idea of where you're going or where you want to go in life to be able to navigate uncertainty?
This one is an interesting topic, because sometimes when you are in stress, in fight or flight, and you've been like that or in that state of survival for such a long time, it's very hard to know or to have that certainty within you of where you want to go and how you see yourself. So I would say let's backtrack it a little bit and let's start with getting to know this. Getting to know what you stand for, your values, for example, what's important for you, getting to prioritize yourself and dedicating time for yourself, because it's in those moments of presence with yourself, it's in those moments of solitude with yourself, it's in those moments in which you fulfill your commitments with yourself that you start understanding, learning, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't this is where I perhaps would like to go to, but I'm just going to put myself as an example, because I don't know if you're familiar with human design.
Yes, I've heard of it. I don't know too much about it, so please do explain.
Well, I mean, I cannot tell you much about it, but what I know is that in my my human design, I am something called a manifesting generator, which is very much into many things at the same time. Like I have a need for variety, constant, and I want to be in different projects and doing many different things at the same time, and that nurtures me, right? But
Mm.
before, it used to be a pain in the neck for me because I didn't know that that was part of my makeup. And so for me, it was like, Laura, why can't you just focus on one thing and do that and only that for the rest of your life? And I think sometimes we put that pressure on ourselves of like, no, this is where you have to go. This is what you need to do. This is the path.
Right.
you know but when we
Right.
understand that maybe we are meant to work in different things, and we might not know what it looks like in 5 years or in 10, but if we
Mm.
know ourselves, then there's certainty in that, and that certainty drives us to the right opportunities, the right people, the right places. So I think sometimes we want to look for that certainty in the future. Oh, that is that vision there. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not good to have it. Of course it is. But if you don't have it, it's okay. So long as you know yourself here, you know where you stand today. You know,
Mm.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Thanks.
I get what you're saying. Like we can be, very fixated on that it's got to be a certain way. And then that's where we can actually create more stress when things don't go that way, because we do know that life throws curveballs at any moment, that unexpected things happen, right? At any moment. And it's all about how you're going to navigate the unexpected twists and turns of life. There's a fantastic course I did a while ago called Landmark Education. And in one of the Landmark courses, they talked about being committed, not attached. Be committed to what you want, but not attached to what that's going to look like. Like be okay with things sometimes, with sort of navigating whatever might come your way and whatever challenges might come your way or obstacles. I don't like the word mistake. Some people say I've made a mistake, but I look at everything as a learning experience. There's times that we've thrown money at things and maybe wasted money or whatever, but then what did you learn from that? And things can always be worse. Like I lost $40,000 once in a scam, but then I know other people have lost $400,000, and I think, well, could have been 400,000. And so what was the learning? And if we get the learning, I think that's that everything happens for us, I believe, not to us. So it's all reframing whatever happens rather than being the victim of our circumstances. How can we rise above it? What is this teaching us with everything that we're going through in life? And I do believe it's a never ending journey as to what we're learning. We never learn less. And so I'm a massive believer personally in investing in my business, personal development, and hanging out with people who are like-minded, who are up for playing for what's possible in life, who have that growth mindset and not the victim mindset. I think that is really, really important too in navigating uncertainty, is to have great support around you and to be your own best friend. And I love that you have the Love Approach Project. Now, can you let us know more about the Love Approach Project? Because I often say, well, there's two places you come from. There's fear and love, right? How
Yeah.
can we bring more love into our lives?
Well, the Love Approach project was born as that. It was born as this desire to share with other people the things that perhaps we could do a little bit more of, for us, to bring that love to, for ourselves. But it then, for me, was also a journey of discovery, as I started the Love Approach project, realizing, self-love comes in so many different forms, and the one that is more prevalent, let's say, that I would say it's the one that I share the most with my clients, is more about learning to prioritize ourselves and committing to what we say we're going to do for us, you know? And from
Mhm.
that place, then so many things kind of like change. They change. Yeah.
So what do you do to practice self-love?
Well, it's a daily practice. It's a daily practice of
Mm.
consistency, and of saying, okay, yes, I have these things that I want to do for me, and I say that I was going to do them, I'll do them. And the day that I don't do it, it's not about, oh, you're such a terrible person, or like just being very harsh with me, but more about, okay, I can start again tomorrow.
Yeah, so true. When we honor our word, when we do what we say we're going to do, we feel better about ourselves. It does definitely add to the self-love we have and our
Yeah.
self-respect and self-worth. We feel better about ourselves when we honor our word. When we don't honor our word, whether it's for ourselves or others, it tends to lower our self-esteem, which then lowers the self-love, whether we're conscious of it or not. I have noticed that for myself, and I have noticed sometimes I take on a lot of stuff. And so sometimes I think I can get 10 things done in a day, but I might just get 5 things done in a day. And actually acknowledging myself for those 5 things rather than beating myself up for the 5 that I didn't do. You know what I mean? So it's all about, how much uncertainty do we want to have? Like I tend to play a big game. I was an elite athlete as a kid. I played table tennis for Australia, and we're very ambitious, very go go go, and it was always about what's possible. And also I think we have to see that we are human beings and we're doing the best we can, and things go the way they go, because sometimes unexpected things happen in the day, or maybe sometimes I think, well, okay, I probably didn't allow enough time for that particular thing. So actually being realistic, using the SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound, looking at the SMART goals around whatever you're doing, and being realistic. And I think those acknowledgements as we go along, I think, are very important, acknowledging ourselves for the things we have done. And if you are going to be out of integrity with yourself or others, particularly with others in this case, communicate with them. If you said you were going to do something, you didn't do it by a certain time, then just reach out and send them a message and say, hey, I haven't done that thing, whatever it is, and I'll get it done tomorrow, or whatever. Recommit, communicate and recommit. I think one of the worst things is when we don't communicate with people, and we leave them hanging and not happy with us because we haven't honored our word. And I think this is a major thing nowadays in society, where a lot of people are not honoring their word, and they're deflating their self-esteem every time they do that.
Totally. Yes. And it's so easy to fall into that pattern, because it's the pattern of
yeah.
And I mean, I raised my hand there,
we've all done it.
Yeah,
we've all done it. However, the sooner you can deal with it, or have that conversation, or communicate, have those difficult conversations. For a lot of people, there's uncertainty around having difficult conversations. It could be that someone owes you money, right? Someone owes you money. How do you deal with that? How do you follow up on that? How, do you go to debt collectors? Do you, what if you want to have conversations with someone, they don't want to have a conversation with you? What do you do? Do you just let it go, or do you go to debt collectors and do you go, battle it out? It's you can cause a lot of heartache sometimes unnecessarily. I do believe in karma, Laura. I do believe in karma. I think treat others as you want to be treated. So that's something to bear in mind as well. Some battles in life, some challenges, let's just say, it might be better to let go of some challenges rather than to fight because that would just create more anxiety, more stress, and you're probably better to focus your energy somewhere else where it's going to be a lot more productive for yourself. So I love that. Love is an everyday practice. For those watching live now or watching the replay, let us know, what do you do to build your self-love? Because it all starts there, right? You can't serve others from an empty cup. You have to fill your own cup up first. And I know for high achievers like myself, we have to do something for ourselves before we do anything for anyone else, ideally, each day. And so what I do is I meditate. Every morning I meditate, and I make that time for myself before I go out and do any other work or get on the computer or anything else. I make that time for myself. And it's a beautiful thing to actually create peace in your life, and to connect with source, and to realize, you're not alone, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and connecting with nature. I love doing that as well, connecting with my cat and with the environment. I think that's so important, particularly with so many people doing so much on their devices nowadays. How can we come back to nature, come back to the simple things, right? Simple things in life are often the best. What are some other things you would recommend to help create more love for people, Laura?
Well, I think one thing that I was going to add to what you were saying is that it's going to look different every day, probably,
Yeah, possibly.
And that's the thing, that sometimes we stick to these rigid routines, let's say, and then when we don't fully do it, then we fall off the track. And then I couldn't do that, so I might as well not do anything. What I say to my clients is, for example, one of the things that I suggest is journaling. Journaling personally has been a tool for transformation, healing, expansion, etc. And what I notice with my clients is an amazing opportunity of communicating with themselves, of hearing and seeing their thoughts on paper, but also of communicating with what's higher, whatever you want to call it, your higher self, your angels, your team, source, God. Journaling is an important part. But many people tell me, I don't have time for journaling. I'm like, okay, so maybe what about writing one sentence? No, Okay, what about writing one word? But just by doing that, you are telling yourself, I matter, this is important for me. And once you start doing it, then you realize that you do have time for writing, and that it's, like such an amazing opportunity to learn about yourself. I think personally for me, the whole journey of self-love is the journey of getting to know yourself. Get of accept yourself with your successes and your shortcomings, with your skills and your things to improve, with the ups and the downs. Is it's really stepping aside or away from self-judgment and becoming more curious. I would say, now that I'm saying it out loud, it's like self-love is curiosity for yourself. When you're curious, you're not judging. When you're curious, you're like, interesting. Ooh.
Yes.
And you get to see yourself, and you get to talk to yourself, and you get to accompany yourself through those moments. So tomorrow it's only, I don't know, a meditation. The next day is a meditation and a walk. The next day it's maybe journaling and meditation. It's like, how do you want to show up for yourself? Or maybe you're a parent and you have 10 kids and you cannot do anything else, or whatever. It's like, okay, so how can you show up for yourself today? So maybe I'm going to walk the steps from where I park the car to the office. Okay. If that's what it means for you today, it's okay. So long as you're conscious of that and aware of that.
Yeah, I think it's so important to be conscious of how we do life, of what fills our cup up and what brings us down. And often, as I say, often we can be our own worst enemy with the conversations we have with ourselves. And I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, you're such an idiot," or like say it to themselves, "I'm so stupid," or whatever it is. So just be aware if you're saying those kind of things to yourself, and just shift that. And this whole thing around, I don't have time for this, I don't have money for this. They're all excuses. Let's face it. They're all excuses. If you really want something, you'll find the money to do it. And we all have the same amount of time in the day. So it's all about, how do you prioritize your time? It's like if you say to your dentist, I don't have time to brush my teeth. He would say, and in fact, a dentist said to me many years ago, he said, only brush the teeth you want to keep. Only brush the teeth you want to keep. And really, it takes 2 minutes to brush your teeth. Why wouldn't you make the time to brush your teeth? However, it's actually noticing what is the resistance, where is that? And it's usually some kind of fear-based resistance, right? There's some kind of fear. And some people love to live in victim mode, right? Some people love that. They don't want to have a whole lot of love because they love the victim mode, because they get attention. And there's always a payoff and a cost with all of that.
Yeah.
And there's a great book called The 4 Agreements. You may have heard of it. The 4 Agreements talks about, the agreements are: be impeccable with your word, do not take anything personally, do not make assumptions, and always do your best. And now that's very interesting, because there's a lot of people pleasers out there. And I know I've been a people pleaser. And I used to be like, if anyone was nasty to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? How have I upset them? But it's actually not about you, because hurt people, my friends. Hurt people. So nowadays, I just send them love. I say, if anyone's being nasty, I send them love. I don't have to tolerate it in my life. Certainly cyberbullying, etc. We don't need any of that stuff. And now you can block people and you can delete comments and things like that online if anyone's being really nasty. I welcome different opinions. I welcome, I invite people to challenge what they believe to be true. And there's a great documentary called Out of Shadows. The very first line, it's why do we believe what we believe? Why do we believe so whatever you believe to be true, I recommend question it, right? Question it and do some more research around that. However, if it's empowering, if you feel great about it, then, keep it going with whatever practices you have, dealing with uncertainty and bringing more love into your life. Keep it going. We've got Philip here. Philip Cosser says, I feel we've been beaten down and your word doesn't mean a thing. I'm clear on my self-love and others around us. That's awesome, Philip. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, and for a lot of people, the more they break their word, the more they keep breaking their word, and they become okay about it, because it just becomes like the new normal. However, what if we were to practice honoring our word, even with the littlest things? It could be that you say you're going to get up at 6 a.m. and you set your alarm, and then you actually get up at 6 a.m. rather than press the snooze button for half an hour, right? That could be a great thing. Actually,
I love what Mel Robbins, I don't know if you've heard of Mel Robbins.
Yes. Yeah.
What she says, it's like, count down 5 to 1. So you do not negotiate it. You just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Up
Get
you
up.
go. Yeah. And then have a cold shower. That's always great too. And
I love the showers.
yeah, cold showers are amazing. However, cold water is not so good for you. And that's interesting because you're saying breathe through the nose because you're actually bringing that, you're filtering the air. So it's sort of coming in warm. Interestingly, a lot of people may not realize that cold water is not good for your body because actually in the inside you're all warm, right? So your body's got to adjust to the cold water to actually make it warm again, right?
Well, it depends, right? Like it can be used as a good stressor for the body. Obviously, staying in cold
Okay.
water, cold freezing water for half an hour, maybe not. But then again, we're all different. So I guess that's with cold water. You mean drinking cold water,
Yeah,
or
drinking cold water.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
drinking.
drinking cold water. Yes, yes, yes. Drinking cold water is an interesting one. Yes.
Yes, drinking cold water. We like the feeling of it because we feel it cools us down. However, you
Mm.
think about it, when we pee, we don't pee cold water, do we? We don't, generally, I've never peed cold water myself. Usually it's warm water, right? It's usually warm. So our body is warm on the inside. So we want to, that's where having not like teas, having herbal teas, things like that are great. However, with an ice bath or with getting into a cold, well, that boosts your metabolism, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually healthier for about our body because it gets everything moving. And it can be a healthy stressor for the body, or it can be uncertain. I know a lot of people have survived the ice baths. That has become very popular now, the whole ice bath experience.
It's a transformational experience. It's a metaphor for life. I say, you go
Mhm.
into that ice bath not wanting to do it, and it's such a challenge, and it's such a,
Mm.
really you have to resource from within your inner strength, your breath, and everything. But when you finish that, you feel like, oh my goodness, I can do whatever. I can take on the world now. It's
Mm.
very powerful. Kind of.
Yes, very powerful. And it's just being gentle with yourself on the journey and acknowledging yourself when you do take on some new challenges and when you step out of your comfort zone. And I find the more that I love what I'm doing, the easier it is to take on uncertainty. I know that kind of sounds weird, but the easier it is to navigate the unexpected twists and turns, and the more certain I am with myself as well. So yeah, it's interesting, really interesting to notice what triggers you, right? When you get triggered by something, when something upsets you or saddens you or angers you, where does that come from? What is that trigger? Actually getting that self-awareness, like, oh, is that interesting? I got triggered over that thing. I was, I didn't like what was said there or whatever was done. Actually noticing the triggers and then seeing how quickly you can move through to bring it into more of a positive state. As in, because we know with Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness, if we get into, different emotions such as shame, grief, guilt, anger, sadness, they're very stuck emotions on Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness. And of course, we are 99.9% energy, frequency, vibration, right? This is all scientifically proven. Whereas when we get into more of the love state, love, peace, joy, gratitude, enlightenment, they're the highest vibrations we will feel. So we will have generally a greater experience of life, and we'll be able to navigate, I believe, more uncertainty when we have an expanded state. If you're in a stuck state in life, if you feel really stuck and angry and depressed, etc., then it's going to be hard to sort of move through that, I think, until you can sort of get the learning and then come out of it. So Laura, I'm curious with you, when you've been really challenged by things in life and you've felt stuck in your life, as I'm sure you would have, like all of us have at different times, how
Correct.
have you navigated through that? What's been the process that you've gone through?
Well, I'm gonna go back to self-discovery. So, for me, I've had a couple of very particular moments, let's say, in which I felt stuck and I felt in victim mode. But then it took me to learn about me before I
Mm,
could start stepping out of that comfort zone of victimhood. Victimhood is a comfort zone, right? And so
yes.
I was going to say and add to what you were saying just before, that we've got to take into account that we are all so different and we see the world through a different lens, right? So for some people, what is triggering for another person might be not, right? And that this is why I love behavioral profiling as well. I work with extended disc. And so you learn about the different types of energy, of styles. Some are more prone to, let's say, a negative or a not a negative, but more like a pessimistic or realistic way of seeing reality, while another style is going to be more uplifting and more upbeat and more naturally. And so the more we learn about what those natural traits are within us, the more we can work with them, you know. And so for someone that let's say for someone that is very analytical, very much working always with the energy of the mind rather than with the heart, because they're naturally wired like that, they might benefit a lot more from things like maybe meditation or running, let's say.
Right.
And so, but for someone, let's say like me or like you know, we are high energies, we are charismatic entertainers, we love people, blah blah blah. For us, perhaps is being able to talk to someone, you know, or do something that we love, like talking in front of people, let's say, you know. So what I'm trying to say is that the more we learn about ourselves, then the easier it is to move through those moments in which we feel stuck. So for me, it's been that process of self-discovery. It's been constant, you know, and I actually believe it's never ending, because we're constantly changing, constantly expanding, constantly remembering who we are, growing into those versions of ourselves. So I don't know if this answers your question, but that's where I focus on, basically.
Yes, I think self-awareness is really important, and that is a great way to be able to navigate challenges in life, is actually to have that self-awareness to go, oh my gosh, I'm really stuck right now. I feel like crap, and maybe I just need some time out for a moment just to sort of consider. And I mean, I was at a speaker business boot camp on the weekend in Sydney, or was it last week, for 3 days, and I had a massive breakdown on day 2. You know, I had some coaching from my mentor that I didn't like. I didn't want to hear that particular coaching, and I went into complete breakdown. However, I was able to then sit back for a moment and go, okay, my mentor's got a point. You know, like sometimes we're so close to our baby, as I say, with what we put out with our, you know, our marketing, what we do with our branding, which is, you know, he had some strong things to say about me and going out to the corporate market and how I've been presenting myself, etc. And I really was quite offended and got very triggered, you know, and I'm like, well, you know, I like the way I do things. However, I get that, you know, if you're going to more of a corporate market, you probably need to, you know, present things a little bit differently for different markets, right? I do get that. So, but it's some stuff I didn't want to hear. So I noticed myself getting triggered, and I went into complete breakdown, and then I was able to, you know, I cried it out a bit, and I sort of, you know, I was fighting and battling and whatever. And then eventually I came out and I went, right, okay, he's got a point, you know. And you know, that's the thing, is that, you know, no matter how much personal development work you do, there's going to be times that you still get triggered at times. There's going to be times that you're going to hear things you don't want to hear sometimes. And, you know, if we want to take life next level, we do need coaches, we do need mentors, I believe, because we're too close to what we do to see how we're doing things. And this is where having multiple coaches and mentors, I think, is actually great, because everyone brings their different skills. So I have had multiple mentors that do help me sometimes to move through things a little bit quicker when I'm facing uncertainty. And, you know, I can either take the coaching or not, right? And there's always going to be two sides of every story. Someone will give their opinion. You don't necessarily have to go with that. You know, you do need to, I believe, listen to what you truly want as well, but also listen to, okay, what is being received in the market right now? How are things coming across? Mariana's with us. Hello, Mariana. We've got Mariana on Facebook. Hello, beautiful ladies. Good to see you there, Mariana. You're looking very beautiful yourself there, I must say, in that photo. Very nice. Very nice there. So yes, I think that's very, very important, that mindfulness, that being conscious, that actually being aware of how we are responding, or are we responding or are we reacting? And there's something that's used in business a lot called SWOT analysis. It's the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this is a framework that often is used by companies to develop strategic planning and look at where where you're placed in the marketplace. But I think really the SWOT analysis is also a great thing to look at in your life. You know, what are your natural strengths? As you said, you know, you've got the DISC profiling systems, you've got the wealth dynamics. There's so many different profiling systems out there. You know, what are your natural strengths? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? And what are some threats potentially in your marketplace, or maybe some threats to yourself? You know, how are you making life harder for yourself than it needs to be. It doesn't. It actually, life would be great if it was all smooth sailing. However, it's the share market goes up and down like this, and so does most people's lives, right? But as long as you sort of incrementally, you're increasing, going more to where you want to go, I think that's important, because I think for a lot of people, they might feel like they're going round and round and round in circles, or like the mouse on the wheel going this way, right? And I've certainly, felt that in my life. And this is where I come back to, what is your purpose? What are you here on the planet for? And there was a great video actually on YouTube where Bob Proctor was interviewed about his purpose. And they asked, what is your purpose? And he said to the person, he said, just do what you love. As much as possible, every day, do what you love. And I thought that is just beautiful. So what is it that you love doing? What is it that really lights you up? What is it that when you're doing that thing, you get so excited about it, and time just flies like it has now? It's already been an hour, Laura. It's been an hour. Time has flown. So I know I'm doing what I love right now. And it's been fantastic chatting with you. I love doing these shows and sharing the genius that people have. It's, that's something I know I love. So what is it for you? Let us know. What do you love? Here we've got the Experts podcast here has joined us on Instagram. Good to see you. What do you love? Share with us in the chat there. What do you love? What are some things, Laura, that you love, you really, really love?
Oh my goodness. I actually love my job, my work. I love supporting others in their journey, and being able to learn lots and integrate so that I can share. That fills me up immensely. And then that's one aspect. And then in terms of my personal life, I love salsa dancing.
Yes.
Totally. I love cooking. I love sharing time with friends, like just those kind of like pleasures of life, And obviously this is from my map, from the way I see the world, right? For some other people that could be hell. But from me, that is what lifts me up and fulfills me. So I'm very, very glad that I get to do what I do, and that I get to have the life that I have.
As they say, if you love what you do, you never have to work another day in your life, right?
Yes.
I love that. And I actually love Zumba. I've done Zumba quite a few times, although I have put my back out a few times I've done Zumba. I think I was just shaking just a little bit too much. So and I do belly dance. I've got the belly for belly dancing, so I'm always like shimmying and shaking things around. But it's good to move your body, right? Move your body. And something I love is food too, Laura. I come from European background, the Greek, Turkish, Ukrainian background. We love our food. So I do say I love food, I love exercise, I love animals, I love nature, I love traveling. There's so much I love. And
yeah.
So much. Yeah. And look, if you're feeling down, anyone watching this right now, if you're feeling down, put your favorite song on and have a little boogie around the house. That's a great way to shift your energy. Or put a comedy on. There's great comedies on YouTube. Put your favorite comedy on and just feel how great you feel when you get into gratitude or joy, or you're having a laugh, or go to a comedy night. There's so many things we can do to lift our energy, and it's just all about, what do you choose to focus on? What do you choose to focus on?
Or even just start laughing out of nothing. Remember something funny that happened to you. And just laugh. That is like one of the biggest, most beautiful healing tools we have within. Laughter.
Yes.
Smile is the energy around you and within you.
Yes. And even if you're feeling miserable, if you actually put a smile on your face, you'll find immediately you feel better. It's a phenomenal thing. It's amazing. If you're feeling crap, just put a smile on your face and then, have a good laugh with yourself, or at yourself, just have a laugh, enjoy life. People say, I just want to be happy. Well, okay, we'll bring it on, let's see, right? Create your own happiness. It's an inside job. It's like the love approach, right? It's an inside job. We can, sure, there's people on the outside that are, that we might feel joy when we're with certain people. However, at the end of the day, no one else is really going to make you happy. You got to make yourself happy. And that's where, what is that for you? Tapping into that inner joy. We've been chatting here today on Media Queen TV about how to navigate uncertainty. Hello, Saad. Saad Hanif has joined us on Instagram. Good to see you. How to navigate uncertainty. Any final words around this, Laura, before we share how people can work with you?
Oh, in terms of how to navigate uncertainty, I would say the biggest thing is to make sure that you're choosing uncertainty consciously. so that it
Mm.
doesn't hit you too hard when it actually comes, because it's gonna come. It actually comes every day. And so just exposing yourself to those small bits of discomfort or unfamiliarity, what we were discussing before. It can be from, having green tea instead of coffee one day, or actually driving a different way home, or jumping into a nice bath, or getting up at the hour that feels a bit uncomfortable, just doing little things that help you expand your comfort zone. That's one of the best and first things. And second, I would say focus on nose breathing. That's going to support you immensely as well.
Wonderful. Absolutely love that, Laura. And for those who want to connect with you and want to work with you, how do you work with clients?
Thank you for allowing me to share that here. So I work, again, one-on-one clients, or I run events every month, and also I go to places, corporate events, online, in person, all of that. So you can find me on my website, so theloveapproachproject.com, and also on my Instagram at the Love Approach Project. Same for Facebook, and then on Instagram, and on LinkedIn, you can find me as Laura Gutiérrez Love Approach.
Beautiful. I love that. Check it out. And you are in Mossman, where I went to Mossman High School. You're in my old hometown.
How lovely.
Beautiful.
Yes, in Mossman, we're not sure in Sydney. Yeah.
Yes, beautiful part of the world. And it looks like you create some absolute magic there. So definitely connect with Laura if you feel like you want to bring a bit more love into your life, and peace and happiness and joy and all those beautiful things. Then go and connect with her there, and or reach out. You'll find her on all those platforms. Thank you so much, Laura. Now, do you have a favorite quote, or motto that you like to live by, Laura? Is there something that comes?
I have a few, but one that really stuck with me when I heard it from Wayne Dyer was, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's like, yeah, okay. Perspective.
Love that. Love that. Beautiful. Fantastic, Laura. And for those who want to connect with me, you can go along to my Linktree /Aldwyn, has all my links, linktr.ee/Aldwyn. Now, I actually have a free webinar I am hosting in 2 days from now at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, called How to Build a Global Brand. And I've got brand new content in there. I've taken on some coaching from my mentor. As much as I didn't want to, I've taken it on, and I have some new content in this webinar coming up for free on Thursday. So you'll find the link for that in my Linktree there. You can hop along to Humanitix there and get your ticket and come and join us and have a great chat around how to build a global brand. Also, we have every month, we have the Global Good News Challenge, which is a great way to share gratitude and good news, help to lift your energy on the planet and lift the energy of the people around you. Also to help decrease depression and suicide rates. And we have a 7-day challenge for July. You can start anytime within July. So check out the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page, which you'll also find in my links here. Plus, you'll find my YouTube channel, which looks just like that right there. Look for Aldwyn Altuney Media Queen TV. We've got over 1,200 videos there now. Some phenomenal interviews with the likes of Barry Crocker, David Icke, Michael DeMaco Rowland, some extraordinary people in there. Check them out, and our podcast and all the other places. Check it out all there. We would love to connect with you. And my quote I'll leave you with, it is one of my favorites, I must say, is from Gandhi, and it's, be the change you wish to see in the world. Be the change you wish to see in the world. There it is right there. Thank you to Gandhi for that one. Thank you so much for everyone who's joined us live here on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, and on the podcast platforms. Let us know, what did you get out of this show today? And what is something that you love, or a way that you navigate uncertainty? Let's keep the conversation going. Share the love if you've really enjoyed it. And we look forward to seeing you again on Media Queen TV shortly. And we do have also Media Mavens Show, our monthly Media Mavens Show we're doing now with my co-host from Germany. We actually have at 8:30 p.m. tonight. We have our Media Mavens Show. We've got an amazing show lined up tonight. So check that out too. We'll be live streaming everywhere tonight at 8:30, which is in about 6 hours or so from now. So we'll see you again there. Any final words, Laura?
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Aldwyn. This was amazing. What an amazing conversation. I'm sure we could keep talking for a long time if we wanted to. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we did it and that we gave people some practical tools to take home.
Yes, it was wonderful. I'm going to start taping my mouth up now, so look out. Look out! I'll be breathing even deeper coming forward, so you won't be hearing you won't be hearing all the rapid breathing from me anymore. You'll be hearing much more deeper, calmer breaths because I'll
Slower. Yeah.
slower taping up my nose. Oh, not my nose, taping up my mouth and breathing through the nose. Don't take your nose up. No, don't do that. You might end up with a moustache across there, and get that special tape, right? Don't use the gaffer tape or the masking tape or the yeah. We do want you to survive through this experience. Okay. Thank you so much. All right, we'll see you again later. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Laura. See you. Bye.